everyone, and welcome on board this live safari. You are looking at a Bataleur eagle. It's a juvenile, so it doesn't have its impressive adult colorations just yet, but I'm hoping it is going to have something impressive below that tree. There could be a leopard with a kill. These birds love to scavenge from leopards, so that's why I'm stopped here. I'm going to drive in and take a closer look. Now, my name is Scott. I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera. We are coming to you live from South Africa in the Sabi Sands Reserve, and it's a great pleasure to welcome you on board. It's a kind of mild afternoon. It's about 36 degrees Celsius, 96 degrees Fahrenheit, but there's a big cloud building out to the west, and that's why we have our trusty rain covers on. That's why there's poles and a little bit of the roof in the way, and you can see a big bank of clouds there, and that's why we've taken some precautions and put in some covers over 2 of the 3 vehicles that are going to be taking you out this afternoon. Oh, is it about to go to the toilet? Yeah, I think it just went to the toilets. Now, a very special welcome to all our regular, passionate community of Safari Live goers. We appreciate your loyal support, and 2 schools that are actually joining us today as well. Albion in Canada, as well as the Glenwood Elementary. So we've got 2 schools. Please, can you guys send through as many questions as you can through your teacher. There's no such thing as a silly question, and Senzo and I will get very lonely if you don't talk to us. So please, can you talk as much as possible, and that way we can share with you as much as we know about Africa and the animals that live here. So, like I said, this bird, the Bataleur, likes to scavenge. It's not the best hunter, and we've just been watching it, and it seems to be kind of looking down at the base of the tree. So I'm thinking of driving in there just to make sure there's not a leopard with a kill. Who knows, there might be some other kind of a carcass or some food waiting there for it. But before that, I would like to just show you what it looks like when it gets its adult plumage. It just looks dull and brown over there, but this is what it'll look like when it's an adult. They become adults when they are around 8 years of age, and that's quite interesting that it takes 8 years for it to turn into this beautiful bird that we are looking at here. Good. Now I cannot wait any longer. I've been very excited to wait for you guys so we can go in and look together, because it'll be very exciting if we all find the leopard together. Logan, you would like to know, do lions eat? And yes, they love to eat, and they love to eat meat. That spend time on our area. They do have a kind of area that Okay, sorry guys, it looked like our signal was a little bit shaky there, but that's what happens on a live safari from time to time, every now and then. Okay, now the grass is quite long. Check carefully. Leopards have got really good camouflage, and once they do make a kill, they often like to drag it and hide it under a bush, so that animals like the Bataleur that like to scavenge and other vultures and hyena steal it. Seems like it may have been a false alarm though. No immediate sign of a leopard over here. And it also doesn't look like the bush has been made, the grass has been made flat at the base of the tree. Often leopards will drag their kills to the base of a tree because they know that if a hyena comes, they'll be then ready to grab it in their mouth and climb up the tree and dangle it over a branch out of the reach of the hyenas. And this is the leopard's favorite tree to take kills up into, and just to go and sleep in when it's a hot day. It's called a marula tree, and it's not only the leopards that love it, but also the elephants, because they've got very tasty fruits at this time of the year. Very good. Like I said, it's not just myself out. There are 2 others, Taylor and Steve, and you're about to meet Taylor.
Hello everybody, hello to all the schools that have just joined us this afternoon. Very exciting to have you aboard my safari vehicle. As Scott said, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian, and we're very excited, and we're hoping to find all sorts of wonderful creatures. It has been so hot the entire day. I think, I just got a little bit distracted though, I think that we should go and check some of the watering holes, because maybe there's some thirsty elephants, maybe some thirsty lions, or even some birds that want to have a little drink. So we're going to head towards a dam called Treehouse Dam, and hopefully find elephants swimming and doing all sorts of wonderful things. And if they aren't, then we're going to go to another dam. Now, as we drive along and looking for the animals, we're scanning in the trees and down on the grass, Olivia wondering what is my favorite animal to observe and why. I like to watch elephants, which is why I'm so excited to show them to you, and hopefully you'll fall in love with the elephants too. The reason why I love them so much, Olivia, is because they're always so busy. The little ones are falling over their feet and stepping on their trunks and waving them around because they can't really control them when they're small. And then watching the adults push down trees or stretch right up at their trunks and pull branches down is quite cool. Oh, look! These are not elephants though, but they're a very cute animal. Hello, warthogs. How are you doing? 3 warthogs. That's a nice surprise. It looks like they've been in the jacuzzi today too. Now, the jacuzzis out here for the animals are not that appetizing for you and I. They don't look very nice. But to a warthog, oh, they'll love it. Oh, and look at this one. This one's got a friend. It's a bird. And that bird is called an oxpecker. And what that oxpecker does, because I bet you're wondering why it's climbing around on it, is it's trying to get all the ticks. Now, Annalise, you're wondering if the animals get along. Well, here we clearly are seeing a friendship between a warthog and a bird called an oxpecker. So, I suppose, yes, they do get along. But what's happening here is they have a special relationship, those two. And hopefully he's going to pop out the other side. It's just behind the tree. Oh, he's coming back. He doesn't want to be off camera. And what that bird is doing is it's helping the warthog. It's actually cleaning it. So it's basically like a car wash, though, but for warthogs. So the warthogs will come through, and they stand, have to wait in line, go and buy their tickets. And then the oxpeckers, sometimes you get more than one, depending if it's a busy day or not. And they'll climb around on the warthogs and then clean them and take all the lice and mites and ticks off of them. So they have a special relationship. We call this a symbiosis. It's quite a big word. Can you say that all with me? Symbiosis. And essentially, they're both benefiting. They're both benefiting from this relationship. So the warthog is getting all the ticks and things removed off of it. So they're getting rid of all the parasites, and then that bird is getting some food, a meal on wheels. So they've got a little bit of everything. And the warthogs, though, they're hungry. They don't eat birds and ticks. As you can see, they like to eat grass. It's their favorite thing to eat. Now, Jules, you're wondering what do warthogs do to protect themselves? Well, if you look very carefully, you can see that those warthogs have got white things sticking out of their faces, I suppose. Those are tusks. And they've got 2 pairs of tusks. They've got a top set, and then they've also got a bottom set of tusks. The top set's not very sharp, but the bottom set that sticks out from the bottom of their mouth is like a steak knife. It is super sharp, so they will use those. And also, they can run pretty quickly. And one of the things that they will do is when warthogs go to sleep at night, because they don't stay up late like the lions and the leopards, they go to bed quite early. They live in termite mounds, so they live underground. They dig burrows, and then they'll reverse into those burrows, so they go down backwards, so that if a sneaky leopard that's out late past its bedtime comes knocking on the door of the warthog burrow, that warthog can come charging out at a great speed and say, "Hey, get away! My children are trying to sleep." And if that leopard is too close, that warthog can stab it with its tusks. So that's how they will defend themselves. But warthogs have also got very, very tough skin too. Very cool, though, to watch these little pigs eat, don't you think? Trying to get all the grass seeds at the moment. Steve is somebody else you haven't met, and he's my friend, and he's like Scott this afternoon. He's doing a bit of birding.
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon, boys and girls. We have found an adult bird of what Scott showed you moments ago, the Battalier eagle. And as we zoom in on it, we can see the beautiful red face and the very white shoulder patch, and it lacks shoulder white down by the bottom there, which means that this is a male. And what we saw moments ago was a couple other battaliers very, very close by, and they had a bit of an aerial fight because this is the time of year that these birds are starting to breed, and so they get very protective and defensive over their nesting area, which is very, very interesting and very cool. It is going to be lots of interesting behavior happening over the next few weeks. And welcome to another episode of Safari Live. My name is Steve Falconbridge. I'm joined by David, the magician, on camera. You just saw his thumb there. That is not his entire body, just his thumb. And we are out on safari, and I'm sure Scott and Taylor have told you, please send through your comments and questions with your teacher. Let us know what you'd like to see, and we will be out this afternoon and interactive and be able to talk back to you on whatever you have to say. Hello, Clark. How do animals find their homes, you'd like to know? That's a very interesting question. Well, they live outside like most animals do. They don't have homes and shelters like we do, but birds would nest in trees, and that's where they would have the eggs. But essentially, that bird that we're looking at there could just sleep right there in the tree where it is. And a lot of other birds will just find some roost in a tree to protect them from anything that might come for them on the ground. And then a lot of other animals will just sleep where they are, where they walk around. As the night comes, they might just stop right where they are and sleep there. Or lots of other animals will have quite a nice scent marking trail, which allows them to find their way back to their hole or to their burrow. Or in the case of hippos, help them find their way back to the dam or the river where they will spend the rest of the day. So marvelous. Our plans this afternoon is we're going to head on into the eastern side of the concession, and we're going to see if we can follow up on a female leopard that we saw this morning. McKenna would like to know, what do those birds eat that we're just looking at? And the bateleur is regarded as a snake eagle, which means they'll feed on snakes, but they're also a very big scavenger. They are very good flyers, and they follow lions and leopards around, trying to look for any meat that they might have left around. So they eat lots of dead and decaying meat, which is quite gross, don't you think? So we're going to move on from our bird, and we're going to go over to Taylor. That's got probably one of the prettiest birds you will see.
We do have one of the prettiest birds, and I'm so happy to see that they're still here. This bird that we're looking at is called a woodland kingfisher. So it's quite a cool little bird, and they don't stay here for very long. They actually should be leaving. They should be going home soon, because they don't live here in South Africa. They should go back to sort of northern Africa in the next month or so. But it's still quite nice to see them. But they are pretty. Hey, look at those beautiful blue feathers. Now, I've said the word kingfisher, so I'm sure you're all thinking, but this bird is not anywhere near water, and we aren't near any water at the moment. But some of the kingfisher species can actually eat other things other than fish. So these ones like to catch insects, and you can see it's looking down in the grass at the moment. See how it was focusing there, opening its mouth, going, yeah, I'm hungry, I didn't get lunch today. And looking for grasshoppers, maybe some big locusts, scorpions. They'll eat any kind of insect that they can get. Now, Kate, you're wondering, why are there so many trees here? Well, I suppose it's because of the type of vegetation that occurs in this part of South Africa. So, I'm sure you've all heard about biomes. So that's the way we kind of describe the different types of vegetation types in an area. And in this area, we get the savanna woodland. So you get parts, it just dived down into the grass. Did it get anything, Seb? I don't know if we can see. It's a little bit to the right. A little bit. Yeah, go up to the right a bit. Up a bit more. He's in that tree. Keep going. He's somewhere in there. I saw it fly in there, but I didn't see any insects in its beak. Better luck next time. Okay, we'll carry on, and I'll carry on answering that question. So we get different types of vegetations here. So like I said, this is the savanna woodland biome. So there's some trees, there's grass, but there's lots of trees as well. And then we'll get to another area where we can call it a riverine thicket, where you get really big, tall trees that like to grow around on the... Woo! Goodness, did you see that stick try and jump into the safari car? Whew. That's very naughty of that stick. It's not supposed to be up here. Very, very rude of it. Anyway, we survived. Now, Allion Elementary, you're wondering if the blue color on that kingfisher acts as camouflage. Now, no, I don't think that helps camouflage that bird very well to us. maybe to an insect or some small prey, because I've even seen a woodland kingfisher eating a mouse before. Maybe if they're looking up towards the sky, perhaps that blue helps them blend in with the sky. On a cloudy day they might have a bit of a problem, but that they have beautiful colours on them. I suppose just all kingfishers have those nice blues. Most of them do. There's the brown-hooded kingfisher that's not very colourful. Maybe we'll get to see it, but it's not typically for camouflage this time around. What else have we got here? Let's see. I am seeing lots of signs that the elephants were here at one point today. Now, Palin, you're wondering why has that kingfisher not gone home? So they come down to South Africa, and it gets very hot up in the northern parts of Africa, and then they come to South Africa for our summers, where I find that it's not as hot. It's a little bit better. And also we get a summer rainfall down here. So with all the rain that comes about in our summer, so from September right through to, sorry, I'm looking here, these footprints on the ground, like all the way to the end of the year, it brings lots and lots of insects around, as you can imagine. So then there's lots and lots of food here, whereas the northern parts of Africa, some of them, they seem to get more of a winter rainfall. So they'll just start getting their rain in the next few months. So it's a little bit different. Then they can go back up there, and they can have all the food up there too. So they're just having a buffet around the country. Not around the country, around the continent. And I did hear Scotty say something about a leopard quite close to the area that we're moving into as well. So we're going to go and have a little look at the dam, see if we can't catch him drinking. But let's go to Scotty and see if he's picked up on any more tracks of that leopard.
Well, we have come across a bird that's looking for a meal, and it's looking for its food inside a giant heap of elephant poop. Imagine that. And it's broken up all of the poop, so it just kind of looks like a big pile of grass now, but would have been almost the size of a few soccer balls together lying on the ground, and a few animals would have come and rummaged through it. As you can see, this hornbill is clearly having a good time snacking. Now, I'm not too sure what's gone wrong with my comms. I can't share anything, but I can hear Kirsty talking through Senzo's earpiece. So I know you're trying to talk to me, Kirsty, but I cannot hear a thing. Yeah, Kirsty, let's try and troubleshoot this one if you don't mind. So I'm not sure who we're going to send you off to, but we are going to send you off to one of the other vehicles, because I'm not too sure what has gone wrong with my comms.
Okay, should we try to do that? Hello, boys and girls. We just thought we'd stop quickly and give you a glimpse of the view. Apologize for any pole that might get in the way. We have put on our rain covers because there was potential rain coming through. The temperature today is 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees Celsius, 96 degrees Fahrenheit. It was very warm earlier, and what normally happens with such warm afternoons is that you get this huge buildup of cloud that you can see in the distance. And so when that happens, often we'll get big thunderstorms in this area. It's very common this time of year to get thunderstorms and rain. And if you look around, you can see the trees and the grass are very, very green. From a life cycle point of view, this is normally when all the animals are breeding, all the insects are here, the grass is producing seed, the trees are producing flowers and seed, and everything is going, all because of our summer rainfall that we have. Even though we are going into autumn now, I think in the Northern Hemisphere you call it fall. It's opposite to you. I think you're going into your spring now. It's opposite. We're going into sort of what will become very dry. And everywhere you see, the leaves of the trees will start falling off, and the grass will start to dry out, and the animals will start to struggle as the food gets less. So there's a nest of an old nest. I'm not sure what bird that might have been. It's a very messy sort of stick nest. There's a number of birds that would use that, but birds like to nest up in the trees to protect themselves from anything on the ground. Coralie, are there lots of poisonous plants here? There's a few, maybe I can find you one. There's not too many poisonous plants out here, but in other places in Africa, in South Africa, especially in the deserts, that's where you find your very, very poisonous plants, because out there's no rain. So here we still get rain. Where there's almost no rain, those plants, almost like an onion under the ground, and they want to store their moisture, and by storing their moisture, they need to be very poisonous, so nothing eats them. So we'll see if we can find you a poisonous plant or two. I'm not going to eat it, though, because that'll be the end of my game drive. But let's see if we can find you something. But isn't that a marvelous view? As far as the eye can see is just African wilderness, which is really, really wonderful. And we are looking west. We are in the Kruger National Park in Djuma, Sabi Sands. And behind us is all the way for about 70, 80 kilometers, about 40 miles, is just wilderness. And then after that becomes Mozambique, which is a big country on our eastern boundary and on the coastline, forming the Indian Ocean. Sophia would like to know, what is the difference between tigers and leopards? Well, first of all, tigers... Oopsie, I just dropped something out of the car. Let me go pick that up. My apologies. Tigers, first of all, are much bigger than leopards, and they've got stripes. They are orange with black stripes, whereas leopards are golden with black spots and much, much smaller. I think a tiger can get up to about 600 pounds. That is a very, very big animal. Whereas the biggest leopard I think I've ever heard of is about maybe 180 pounds. So the size there is really, really different. And lions can also get up to similar weights to the tiger, but tigers are probably the biggest. I believe the biggest cat in the world. But we do have some lions here, and hopefully at some stage today we'll be able to find them for you, because lions are very, very cool. We found some this morning, and because it's very hot, we can expect that they've stayed exactly where they were left. So either myself or Taylor will be going there to see if they're still there. Oh, hello, there's a mongoose. Oh, he just disappeared. It was one of the very small, the smallest carnivore that we have. Let me show you a quick picture. Quick little picture. Wow, that was quick. There we go. I just saw this little guy run across the road. He's very cute, isn't he? They live in small little groups, and in Shangaan, the local dialect, they call him machikichor, because that's the noise that they make, machikichor, machikichor, when they see something. And they'll often, on a walk, they'll often look at us and make that noise. But they've disappeared into the bushes here, and it's not often that they'll come running out again. But the smallest carnivore that we have in the savannah, or in this area anyway. Okay, so we're going to continue on, heading north in search of our leopard and maybe in search of some lions. And while we do so, let's go over to Taylor for an update.
So, Scott's had to go back to camp now because something's wrong with his car. So we're going to help him and try and find where this leopard has gone. All I need to do now... here are his tracks. That was easy. Let me go back and show you a footprint. Now, McKenna, you were actually asking about footprints on the ground, so I'm going to show you some really cool ones. I'm going to show you some leopard footprints. Let me jump out the car quickly. Got to make sure that there's no leopard here too, so we better look around. Cool, let's find a nice track. This one, over here. So, if you look very carefully, you can actually see, here's the back of the foot. 1, 2, 3, so that's how I know it's a cat, because the cats have got 3 lobes on the back of their pads. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. And so the track is going this way. So it's going in a northerly direction. Now we need to see where it's gone, though. There's one footprint. Where are the others? Here's another one. So he's going that way. So we're also going to go that way. We will go back up that road and see if we can find him. big male leopard too, which will be quite cool. Right, get plugged back in again. Doot, doot. Right, now you're going to see me dangling my head off the side of the vehicle. It's because, though, I want to try and find this leopard track. You were wondering, do they stay up late here? Yeah, this leopard that we're tracking at the moment, if it is the male known as Hukumuri, sure, sometimes he doesn't even come home until the next day. So yeah, they can stay out late, but he's got a good reason to be staying out late at night, because he wants to catch some dinner. I bet he's hungry. He's been walking all the way along this road. So we're going to see if we can keep up with him. Now, he must have walked, I would imagine he must have walked here during the day. I didn't drive this road this morning, so I couldn't tell you. I do see some people tracks here. So I wonder if these footprints aren't from this morning, actually. Haley, you've asked, why is that leopard paw so big? Leopard paw is what I meant to say. Actually, it's not that big, in fact. It's like a really, really, really big dog's footprint. But a lion's track, a big male lion's track, is about the size of my hand. Those are big paw prints on the ground. He's still going here. I wonder what he was doing. Now, there's a couple of watering holes we can check. I wonder if he got thirsty. Let's check here at this next intersection to see if he carried on. Interesting. I might have to get out the car again and have a little look around to see if I can see this leopard's footprints and which way he went. Let's go see if Steve has found anything interesting.
I am looking for a poisonous plant, and it is turning out to be more difficult than I thought. But I am keeping my eyes open, Dave as well. But at the same time, we're also looking on the floor for any tracks of any animals that might be moving. What would you boys and girls like to see this afternoon that is special for you? See if we can find it. Tanya, yes, indeed, there are lots of insects that are poisonous to animals, and generally the insects that are colored with bright colors, yellow and contrasting with black, or red and black, yellow and black, those insects are generally poisonous. But some of them are cheeky, and some of them are pretending to be poisonous. So they're not, but if you ate them it would be okay. But they do that as a sort of a defense to protect themselves, because animals learn, ooh, those ones don't taste very good, and then they leave them alone. So I'll get my insect book out and I'll show you some of those insects, or I might in the next segment, because it might take me a few moments to find. But I'm still looking for a wonderful poisonous plant known as the poison apple. Chloe, you have got a very good comment question there. Is elephant dung used as an insect repellent? Well, let me get you some, Chloe. Dave, you got your lighter handy? You do? Look at this. We have found some elephant dung in the road. It's just a small piece, and it's quite nice and dry. If you could pass me your lighter, please, Dave. See, now what the elephants do is they walk around and they feed on grass, and in the summer months now, this time of year, most of the grass. Can you see how much grass there is around here? There's lots and lots of grass. So this time of year they feed mainly on grass, but as it gets drier, they start to feed on leaves and bark and roots. So what you'll do this is not the best time of year for doing it, but I'm going to take this now and I'm going to show you. If you burn it, and you must be careful not to use a lighter at home, only with the supervision of your parents, and you can burn it, and you can see there's a very nice smoke that comes off of it. You see that smoke? Okay, so that smoke now, if I burn this in my home or around my house, it will keep the mosquitoes away and also the biting flies. So it's got quite a nice smell, and also you can do rituals. You can bless people. You can bless them, because elephant dung, there's lots of medicinal value in here. So if I breathe this in, it'll cure my headache. It'll keep away the insects, but also The smell is quite strong. It'll keep away my girlfriend as well. So I must be careful not to use it too often. If I use it, she must be there. Otherwise, she won't come home. But I must be very careful now with this. Fire is a very big problem out in the savannah. Not a problem, but something you have to be very careful of. Thanks, Dave. Because this area is designed to burn. All the plants and trees like fire. So if I light a little fire here and I let it get away, I could get myself into a whole lot of trouble. So that fire is dead. I've covered it in sand. So I hope that answered your question. Elephant dung is very, very useful for keeping away mosquitoes and flies. I'm glad that you knew that. You must have been on safari before, Chloe, or you've watched some interesting documentaries. I smell rather strong now. Okay, we're going to go back over to Taylor and we're going to continue doing our thing. Let's see what she has for you.
I'm laughing at you, Steve. First, I'm going to drive Sebastian through some trees. Are you ready? I won't do that. No, I'll pass them to you. Up and under we go. Because I want to show you a plant, because I can't find any animals today.
Okay, but don't leave me in the tree.
Oh, no, but that's so nice. I wish I could see you all. I literally just parked Sebastian in the tree. Hang on, everyone. I thought that you liked it in there. He lies. Seb says his favourite thing to do in the whole wide world is sit into trees, and then when I park him in a tree, he's not happy. Sorry, Seb. Luckily it wasn't a thorn tree. So, there's a thorn tree I'm about to show you now. I'm also being attacked by the branches. It's this one over here. It's a very cool tree. It's my favourite fruit tree in the whole wide world. This is called, I'm going to give you the big Latin name, which you don't need to worry about, but it's just a fun one to say. Carissa bispinosa. The num-num tree, because it's so num delicious. It's great. But I can't see any fruit on it at the moment. Let me see if I look very carefully. The birds have been eating it all. They're very rude. I think they know that this is my favorite tree. Anyways, the berries start out nice and green, and then they get quite big, and then they turn a lovely red color. And since Steve was showing you some trees that are normal, or not trees, some insects that were poisonous, I'm going to teach you something about the bush. Watch carefully. Don't do what I just did and stab yourself with a thorn. That was very sore. I almost said a bad word. Okay. No, it's very dry. Let's see if I do it like that. Okay, I'm going to bring it. Oh, I've got to pick a few more leaves without being stabbed. I just keep getting stabbed by all the leaves. I'm going to try to put it on my skin. So, is that okay there, Sam?
Yes.
If you look very carefully, it doesn't have much now because the fruit shows it the most. But on the edge...
You're a little bit too close to you. So,
there. That better?
Yeah.
So, you've got to look very carefully, but actually what's coming out of these leaves is a milky latex.
Still too close.
Still too close?
Yeah.
Yeah. That better. I'm too close today. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well.
Yeah.
So if you look very, very carefully, you can see the white milky latex. Now, normally that plants that have that white stuff coming out of the leaves, you don't want to touch it. You don't want to eat the fruit because it means that it's poisonous. But this is an exception. There's always some exceptions to the rules. But I'm going to see if I can find a berry, because the berries have the best. I'm going to drop the leaf, Seb. The berries are the best because you can't see it very nicely. Then I can show you exactly what I mean. But like I said, this one is an exception, and it is very tasty. You can eat it, and it kind of you can just chew and chew and chew. There's no fruit. The birds have eaten it all. You just keep chewing as if it was bubble gum. It was really quite nice, so they call it Bushman's bubble gum. But sadly, none on this tree. We'll have to try another one. I know a few other secret spots where this tree could be. Well, a few more of them. Are you ready to go back out, Seb? Okay. Well, before I drive Sebastian into the tree again, I'm going to send you back to Steve. It seems as though he's got some more poisonous insects to show you.
Yes, I've found some in my book, but we've also just driven past a beautiful black and white and orange butterfly. I wonder if he's going to show himself again. Here he is. Oh, He's very fast. Ah, it's the African monarch butterfly. I will show you a picture if he doesn't land. But if he does land, we will catch him on camera. But I will show you some of these insects here. Here he is, right here, Dave. Land, good sir. Hey, can you see the colors, boys and girls? You see he's black and orange with a little bit of white. Oh, there he goes. The African monarch butterfly. Well spotted, Davy. Okay, so that insect, that butterfly is indicating that it is very poisonous to eat. And I lost, let me find him in the book, sorry. There we go. Okay, there he is. You see the coloration? And now this butterfly feeds on a type of plant that gives it a poisonous sort of taste. And when the butterflies eat it, then it is very distasteful. Not the butterflies. When the birds eat it, it's very ugly to taste, and so they leave it alone. But there are some butterflies that look like this but are not the same. There's slight difference to them, and then they are not poisonous, but they are pretending to be this one. Okay, boys and girls, we have got something very special on the other end. Scott has found something for you.
We certainly have got very, very lucky. We have found one of the animals with the best camouflage. Let's see if you can see it ahead of us there. Senzo's teasing you guys, zooming in and zooming out. It's behind a bush now, but I'm sure it's going to pop out either side of it any time, and it's going to show exactly how well its camouflage works as it blends in to the thickets. You can just see something moving there, and it's a leopard. How cool is this? Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. It looks like he might actually be stalking something. He's moving very, very quietly through the grass, and I wonder if he doesn't know of any possible food up ahead of him. His hearing and his smell is so much better than ours, and the wind is blowing straight towards him. So I'm guessing he can smell something. It's quite thick, so it would be difficult for him to see any prey, and that's why I'm guessing it's his nose that he's using. He's trying to keep himself as low to the ground as possible, and I know it's not easy for us to see him. We'll move forward a little bit, but there will come a point where we might not be able to move anymore, because we don't in hunting, we don't want to chase away his food, or possibly by mistake chase his food into him. We don't want to have any effect. Look at how cool this is. He's being very, very sneaky. Wonderful. Let's try and move forward a little bit. I want to see if we can try and see what it is that he's spotted. And there's quite an open area where we can position the vehicle here without too much trouble. Is that business? Okay. Samantha, you'd like to know... Oh, I just crashed into the tree. You'd like to know if animals ever come close enough for us to touch them. Well, sometimes, yes, the animals can come very close to us, but that doesn't mean we're going to touch them. We try and keep our distance, and we don't think that they're our pets, even though they are relaxed with the vehicles. We don't want to try and become too friendly with them, because they are wild animals, and wild animals are best not touched by humans. That's a general rule. Now, I thought I may have seen something like an antelope called an Inyala. Yes, I can actually see one, Sens. It's at about 10 o'clock there, looking at us. Is it behind the pole? Oh no. I think sadly the antelope that this leopard has seen is directly behind this rain cover that we've got on. Oh no, I thought I might have seen its tail wag. And we'll try and get into a good spot if we can. Like I said, I don't want to interfere. I can still see the leopard off to our left, and while we try and get into a better spot, we're going to send you across to Steve.
How fortunate are you, boys and girls, and look what we've just spotted as well. This is one of the favorite foods of the leopard. And you've just seen a beautiful male leopard. This is called a steenbok. It is an Afrikaans name. It's basically meaning brick, buck. So it looks like the color of a brick or a stone. And it is very, very hard to see in the long grass for a leopard. Very secretive. You can see that it's a female because it doesn't have any horns on the head. How beautiful are those ears? All the better to hear you with. This is a fully grown animal and is the second smallest that we find here, antelope. And you see how it's trying not to move at all. If it moves, we will see it. It thinks it's invisible. And this is how they behave with lions and leopards. They stand very, very still. Hopefully the lion and the leopard won't see it. If they do get spotted, they run away a short distance and then hide again. So cute. They are able to move their ears like that, one at a time, left and right. See, it's very jumpy. Hey Franco, you want to know, are there any poisonous animals? Well, there are no poisonous snakes. Franco, there's no poisonous snakes. Snakes are venomous, which means that they take their venom in their fangs and they inject it into your blood. You could actually eat a snake, and if you didn't have any wounds in your mouth or your stomach, you'd be able to eat that venom. I wouldn't advise doing it. It's not a good idea. But there are some poisonous frogs, and they also have the same colors that you see on those butterflies, red and black. It's called a banded rubber frog, which is very, very poisonous and actually was used for poisons, for arrows and for darts that people used long ago for hunting. Absolutely beautiful. Starting to relax now. It's marvelous. We don't often get to see them like this. They normally just run away. We only see them for a few seconds and they're gone. Into the long grass. See that? See how quickly they disappear? Fantastic. Okay, so we are almost up in the north where the dam is, Buffelshoek Dam. I didn't get the name there, Curse, but the question is, why is there so much sand? There is a lot of sand in Africa. It is not a desert. Jasper, this is not a desert, this is the savannah, and a lot of the soil we have here comes from the mountain and from many, many years ago when there was all sorts, everything here was underwater. There was a massive ocean, the whole world was under the water, and all of the sand got broken down off of the rocks and then deposited around here. So no, it's not a desert, but it is very sandy soils. The sandy soils come from very granite-like rocks, which is very hard rock, and also from sandstone, which was also once from the granite, and that once originated from the middle of the earth and it came up onto the earth itself, but a very long time ago, about 2 to 3 billion years ago. So a very, very long time. So boys and girls, it's been absolutely absolutely wonderful having you with us. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone. I hope you've had a wonderful afternoon with us and hope to see you again soon. And goodbye from us at Safari Live to the school, to both the schools. We'll see you next time. And on that note, we're going to go to Scotty D with his leopard.
Welcome back, everyone. We've managed to reposition the vehicle and we couldn't be in a better spot. You can just see this young male leopard slowly sneaking forward, and what we're going to do is we're going to invite on some other viewers to enjoy this exciting moment with us. So I'm just going to keep quiet for a second while they jump on board. Hello everyone that has just joined us. We are coming to you live from South Africa in the Sabi sands, and you can see there's a leopard hiding in the grass, and there's a good reason that it's hiding. It's trying to stalk up on some prey. And how exciting is this? My name's Scott. I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera, and we are coming to you 100% live. Please do connect with us by using the comment box below. I just want to show you where the antelope is. It's up ahead there. You can just see that white chevron between its eyes, and for the time being it's got no idea what's going on. Now, this antelope, called an Inyala, is quite a large antelope, certainly quite a tough meal to bring down for this young male leopard. He looks like a leopard that we know. I think his name is Tamba, and he's only around 2 years old. Interestingly, he caught a massive antelope called a kudu. It was a female, but it'll be bigger than this male Inyala about a week ago. So he certainly can take down the heavy prey and the big prey, despite being probably 2 or 3 times bigger than him. Obviously his agility, his sharp claws, and so I'm still excited, everyone. It's just that the attempt to welcome on board the other viewers was a flop. So we'll try it again at some point in time. We'll let you know when. But how cool is this? We couldn't be in a better spot here. He's probably about, I would say, 12 to 14 meters away from that Inyala. But that's still far too far away for him to launch his attack. So you can see he's just kind of sitting in the grass now, waiting patiently. He knows full well that if he is patient, the kudu could walk to, the Inyala could walk towards him. And I think that is in fact what he's waiting for. Ah, Matt, you say this little guy has some spunk, and he certainly does. Almost as much spunk as one of the other young male leopards, who we've actually noticed has an affinity to trail after buffalo and snipe the young calves from within the herd. I'm sure this guy will be no different in the coming months, but for now he's kind of practicing his hunting of larger prey on the spiral-horned antelope. Last week a kudu, now an adult Inyala bull. Oh, here goes. What's happening? Why does he think it's a good time to move now? This is the most awesome view of him doing the leopard crawl. Okay, now we're going to try and welcome on board those viewers again, so I'm just going to keep quiet for a second. Hello everyone, and welcome on board this live safari. If you look very closely, you will see a spotted cat slowly slinking through the long grass, and it's busy stalking an Inyala. It's a large antelope, probably about 3 times the size of this leopard, so this leopard's got its work cut out for itself. My name's Scott, and it's great to have you guys on board. I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera. Please communicate with us, send us your questions, send us your thoughts, let us know how you're feeling, because we would love to hear from you. Let's show you the antelope quickly. There it is. Not easy to see. Can you see that kind of white chevron between its eyes? And it hasn't moved a muscle since we've got here, and the leopard still has quite some distance to cover. Even though it looks like it's very close, the leopard's probably somewhere around that termite mound. Oh, there it is. How cool is this? The most awesome camouflage. is in the leopard's favor. It's blowing gently from right to left. And Ryan, yes, this is awesome. I'm so happy to be sharing this with you, and the fact that we are doing it live makes it that much more special. Now, there's a lot of thick cover, which is perfect for this leopard to use to creep up, and the fact that the wind's blowing helps the leopard for two reasons. It's blowing towards the leopard, away from the Inyala, which means the Inyala won't smell the leopard, but it also means that any kind of noises that the leopard makes will be muffled by the rustling grass and the wind. Diane, you saying how much you love this? Well, so do I. It's not something that we get to see very often. Predators on the hunt, especially during daylight, is not very common, and it's also not very common for us to be able to be in the right spot like this where we can see both predator and prey quite well. Now, there is going to come a point in time that we actually probably won't be able to see the leopard anymore because it's getting quite thick. Ruben, you saying that this is insane, and all of your comments I'm really appreciating and couldn't agree more with. It certainly is an epic scene that is unfolding here, and who knows what may happen. If the leopard does manage to latch onto the Inyala, it will be an absolute showdown of strength and determination. This antelope's probably 3 times the size of the leopard, possibly a little bit more than that. And yes, Nina, this leopard is certainly picking quite a tough target to chew on. Let's see if we can get another glimpse of the leopard. I'm not sure. It was somewhere last spotted in there. And that's the tricky thing with leopards. When they don't want to be seen, it becomes incredibly tricky. But I can see him. There we go, Senzo. Well done, buddy. And I cannot believe what great views we're getting. Just enough to keep us in the loop as to where this leopard is, and just enough to send shivers down your spine. Imagine if this cat was trying to creep up on you. Whew. Thankfully, they don't like that, or don't like sneaking up on us. They much prefer sneaking up on antelope. And something is going to happen very, very shortly. He's getting to a point where he could launch his attack at any moment. Ideally, a leopard will be about 5 or 6 meters away from their prey before they launch their attack. And like I say, he's not too far from that point. But now it's got too thick for us to actually see him anymore. So I think we might have to just kind of stay put here and just wait patiently and see what happens. Now, in situations like this, let me warn you in advance, you do need to be patient, because once the leopard gets to a point where it doesn't want to get detected and feels like it's got too close, it'll just stay put, and they can really sit tight for long periods of time, knowing that it's better to be patient than to come in too quickly and blunder a hunt. Sophie, you would like to know what the weight difference is between these animals, and I mean, it's just guesstimates, but I would say that this antelope is at least 3 times the weight. I would say that this young male leopard's probably around 60 kilograms, maybe 70 kilograms, 140 odd pounds, and I would say that the Inyala is probably closer to 140, 150 kilograms, around 300 odd pounds, and possibly a little bit more than that. This is a big adult Inyala bull in his prime. The leopard is not quite in his prime yet. He's still got probably 3 or 4 years to go before he becomes an adult male leopard. Christopher, he's saying how much this is exciting you, and if it wasn't exciting you, I would suggest going and checking in with your local doctor, because there could well be something wrong with you. If this is not exhilarating stuff, I don't know what is, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. So forgive me if that's what you think. But I still think it's worth checking in with your local doctor if you're not incredibly excited by this scene. Now, something else, especially for people who may be new to Safari Live and not too sure what we get up to, we do 2 daily safaris, 1 3-hour safari in the morning and a 3-hour safari every afternoon, and we've been doing that every day for the last 3 years. But to see the animals hunting is something that we really get to witness and share with you, our viewers. So it kind of emphasizes how lucky we are to be all sitting here waiting for the inevitable pounce to happen. The leopard, like I say, still does have a lot of work to do, and even though it's very close by, the antelope were very quick, and as a kind of rough gauge, the predators out here only succeed in their hunting at about 10 to 15% of their attempted hunts. Diane, you're also sitting on the edge of your seat, holding your breath. I wish I had a heart rate monitor on that could keep track of my heart rate. If any of you guys would like to take yours and let us know if your heart is racing and how many beats per minute, you can. I'm not going to try and do that because multitasking is not one of my strengths, and you'll find when I start trying to count to 10, the leopard will make a pounce and I'll be left speechless. Chris, no problem for the shout out, and yes, you must be relieved that we do not think that you need to go and see a doctor. You're off the hook today. I wish I knew how close the leopard was now, guys, but I really don't want to interfere in the hunt in any way, so please just bear with me as we try our best to only spectate what happens out here in this epic wilderness. Look at how the Inyala's ears are twitching, listening, one forward, one back. Very well designed and developed to avoid being eaten, and those large ears are going to be incredibly sensitive. But like I say, with the wind rustling the grass and the leaves, it's going to give this leopard a strong advantage to try and slowly pad its way inch by inch closer. So what may well happen here, if this young male leopard decides that it's brave enough to pounce on this large Inyala, it is going to take a while for it to bring it down, so we can expect to see an almighty wrestling match. You'll probably find the leopard will try and latch onto the throat of the Inyala and use its 2 front legs to grip around the neck, and while it does that, it'll be using its back legs to try and... Oh, the Inyala moved it a little bit there. It'll be using its back legs to try and latch onto the Inyala's front legs, trying to keep them at bay from any flaying hooves that could cause injury to the leopard. Oh, you're looking the wrong way. The leopard could make its move now. He's looking quite relaxed now, the kudu. He's just chewing the cud. Oh, he sensed something there. Robin, you'd like to know if leopards will ever ambush their prey from up in a tree, and yes, they certainly do that. But, I mean, it's kind of like the equivalent of a leopard winning the lottery, because to have prey walk under the tree that you're sleeping in obviously requires a lot of luck. But it is something that has been documented. It's not something I've ever seen or ever come close to seeing. Be careful, Inyala. One wrong move now. Don't look that way, because that's not where the leopard is. And when the leopard sees that the Inyala is focused on something else, it could be the perfect time for it to make its pounce. Poor old Senzo on camera. Ooh. You see now, this is probably exactly what the leopard wants. This Inyala's slowly turned around and looking now in the opposite direction. It hasn't moved much. It's still there. You just can't see it from your angle of where the camera is mounted onto the vehicle. There you can see a little bit of movement. Carl, now you ask a good question. You'd like to know if this Inyala would use its horns to defend itself. I'm not convinced it will at first. It may get to that point in time, but ordinarily most of the antelope are not kind of experienced and practiced in using their horns to defend themselves against predators. It's for fighting, for ladies, so for fighting with their own species, 9 times out of 10, and that is for dominance rights over the female antelope. So even though they could, it's not something you see very often, and buffalo are one of the main animals that we will see using their horns to defend themselves or defend members of their herd that have been taken down. But I've never heard of an Inyala doing it. Having said that, I've never seen an Inyala bull taking this. Now, there's quite a few people that have just joined us, so let's try and do a quick recap as to what's going on. My name's Scott. That's the start. The leopard we last saw moving from left to right, and it disappeared somewhere in this thick vegetation just behind that dead tree over there. So that was the last we saw of it. It was hugging the ground, stealthily creeping forward, but as you can see, it's just got into an area that is simply too thick for us to see through, and it's probably only about 5 or 6 meters away from this antelope called an Inyala. It's a very big antelope, probably about 3 times the size of this leopard, which means that this leopard may be actually thinking twice about whether to make the pounce or not. I'm just going to use my binoculars to try and scan through that thick vegetation and see if possibly my slightly different angle that I'm sitting in allows me with a gap or a glimpse of the leopard. Robert, you would like to know how long can a leopard go on chasing its prey for before giving up? Usually it's a very, very short, sharp burst. Something like kind of 10 to 15 meters at the most would be your average chase. But sometimes when they're chasing smaller prey like baby warthogs, for example, it can go on for a couple of 100 meters. But anything more than that would be highly, highly uncommon. And even a 100-meter chase would be almost unheard of. It's something that happens very, very seldomly. It's a short burst, and if they don't latch onto their prey within the first few steps, they've realized full well by then that their prey has got enough of an idea and enough time to keep moving and keep gaining distance away from the predator. I think we can move the vehicle a little bit, so let's try that. I'm confident that we're not going to interfere with the Inyala's movements. Unless a branch just pops up like that. Okay. Now forgive us, there is a bit of a pole, but I can see the leopard sends. Yeah, well done. This is absolutely awesome. And I think not only are we going to have a view of the leopard from here, but also possibly the Inyala sends. If you just go wide for a second, can we see the Inyala there? Yeah, there we go. Well done, Senzo. And the Inyala's kind of, its head is facing off to the right, and this leopard is looking like it is in a very, very promising scenario. It's got the perfect, very thick cover to continue using to creep up, and you can just make it out there. How epic is this, everyone? I'm loving the fact that we can only just barely see this leopard. It's giving you a good idea of how they can melt and dissolve their bodies into the vegetation as they sneak up on their prey. Now, as I was saying earlier, poor old Senzo, his trigger finger must be itching because he needs to be ready to open up and go wide as soon as the action unfolds, and it could be in a heartbeat. If you blink, you'll miss it. Angela, you're saying that this is epic stealth, and it certainly is. I couldn't think. This is probably one of the best sightings I've ever had of a leopard stalking up on its prey. We're just so fortunate with the area that we're in and the fact that we've managed to keep an eye on him without interfering on the outcome of what is going to happen here. And that is fundamental. I'd probably say he's probably only 4 meters from the Inyala. Now you can see both of them in the same shot, and I'm sure that he's just thinking twice about trying to take down this Inyala. That's the only reason he hasn't launched his attack, in my opinion. If that wasn't an antelope like an impala, I'm almost certain he would have gone for it by now. What are you thinking, buddy? Is he too big for you? Daisy, you've just mentioned, wow, so close. And I agree. I'm surprised at how close he's managed to get. And it looks like he's going to move again. Here he goes. And the Nyala's left him in a cloud of dust. As so often happens. Sorry, young leopard. But even though he was so close, now you can hear the Inyala alarm calling. It's kind of like a dog-like bark. Senzo's having to work some funky angles to show it to you through the bushes. He's standing up, leaning over the camera to see the monitor. And now you can hear it nicely barking away. I don't think we can see it from where you are there. I think you need to go a little bit left, Senzo, or is it just the bushes that are in the way? Let me just turn around and try and work out where the leopard is. Whew! Well, that was so exciting, everyone. And I'm so happy we could share it with you. Obviously, good news for the Inyala, bad news for the leopard. But as it so often goes with the predators, they miss a lot of their attempted hunts. And I just want to show you guys one last look of this young male leopard, because he's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful specimen. That is, of course, if we can find him. It's very, very thick here, as you can tell, and it looks like he's fled the scene, ashamed by his missed attempt. Pablina, you've just said that that was legendary, and I'm glad you think that, because I couldn't agree more. That was an absolutely epic, epic scene. Christopher, you said you think your heart left your body. Well, okay, guys. It doesn't look like it's going to be as easy as I was thinking to relocate on him. I'm confident we will be able to find him, just not immediately. So if you'd like to continue following this evening's safari, just Google Safari Live. You'll find us very easy. We're going to be still broadcasting for another 2 hours. And thank you so much for sharing that exciting moment with me all the way live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa. We will see you all on the next exciting African adventure. Okay, everyone, well, that was super cool. Well done, Senzo. Senzo spotted the leopard, but we're going to be a while catching up to it. And I'm thinking he's going to pop out on the Djuma Dam camp, so that's also something to bear in mind. And we're going to send you across to Steve for an update on what he's been up to for the last while.
How marvelous that was, ladies and gentlemen. How marvelous to just bump Tumba like that, and then to go through such a nice sequence of him hunting. Tumba, Tundi's son. We've come into the area to try and find Tundi. We didn't find any tracks. The area we were following her in this morning was very thick, and she didn't seem to come out on the road. Very, very hard going to just go in there and see if we could find her. So Tom called us. He is in the sighting with us right now, and the Nkuhumas had moved from their position this morning, where we had them just there by the dam. And so I decided to come and give Tom a hand, and we had some communication on the radio, and asked him to check the northern boundary. and he was able to find them lying up probably about 100 yards, maybe 100 meters, sort of north, directly north from where we had them this morning. And they are lying flat in the shade. It was a very hot afternoon, so I wasn't concerned that they were going to be too far away. They just would have found a more suitable shaded tree, because the shade they'd chosen this morning wasn't very good. Francis from Israel, yay, the Nkuhumas, you say, indeed. They are all very, very full, and they're all struggling to lie on their tummies because their bellies are so full. There hasn't been too much movement, though, since we got here. The youngster was up and suckling again, but other than that, there's been not too much in the way of movement, but it's to be expected of lions on a hot day like this. And I just had a little worry that if we didn't spend some time trying to find them, that we might lose them. But they are going to stay here until it cools down enough for them to start moving. Thanks, Tom. He's moving out now. He's going to go and see if he can have a look at Tamba. Obviously, that very special leopard has a place in his heart, in everybody's hearts. And well done, Scotty, for finding him. Just so happens, that these things happen for a reason. Scott went back to camp for some technical issues. So for all of those you out there who are always worried and upset with the gremlins are the reason Tamba was found today, and they've given you some nice visual of that beautiful cat. Just wish he had a little bit more patience when it came to stalking, but that will come with time. I've seen it with Hosana. Hosana doesn't have the patience when we've watched him stalk. He just seems to be a little bit too boisterous. And that comes with time. Eventually they get hungry and they learn that being patient is a little bit more in the way of successful for their hunting ability. It's a beautiful lioness. I don't know who she is. I think it might be the youngster. Hello, Laura. You want to know why the males are never around? The males will only be around really if the females are in estrus and they need to breed. There is a cub in the pride at the moment, which means that female is out of commission, and the other sub-adults are about 1.5 years, so those other 3 or 2 lionesses are out of commission. And then Amber Eyes was mating, a very peculiar mating it was indeed, and so there seems to be no reason for those males to be hanging around, and they probably are off in another area, spending time with another pride, demarcating their territories, demarcating sort of their areas, strengthening the bonds amongst the males. They might have found a pride that is a lot of the females are active and ready for breeding, and so it's much more sort of in their benefit to be there. But I'm sure within the next week or 2 we might see a few more sightings of those boys as they come in and just touch base with these females and make sure everything's going good. There have been a few sub-adult males to the north of us in Buffelshoek the last few days, calling and calling and calling. So I have no doubt that will attract the attention of the Birmingham brothers, and they will probably come into the area and maybe try and sort out those youngsters. So I haven't seen them, but apparently there are 3 sub-adult males that are still building up their confidence. But calling like that is indication that they are confrontational and are willing to maybe challenge one of these boys. But these boys, when we see them, they are big, they are battle scarred, and they have got very big and impressive manes, and very, very impressive lions as well. I've only seen 2 of them, but at individual times, so I'd love to spend some time with these boys. So while we stay here with the Nkuhumas and the lovely smell that they have left for us, we're going to go over to Taylor McCurdy, who has something very special.
Guess who we've located again? Got Hosana Banana just laying in the grass. Well, I'm sure it's Hosana. And we've been driving around trying to figure out where he's gone. And we drove the last spot, then we drove up Shirombe, which is a road here on Chitwa, and then we picked up his tracks in the Mulwanini, which is another dry riverbed. And then I thought, okay, he's going back towards Chitwa Lodge. Perhaps he checked in for, lunch, maybe. And then we could hear a squirrel alarming, and then the Inyala started alarming. And between Seb and I going up and down the Mulwanini about 10 times, eventually Seb managed to spot him in the long grass. So it was quite funny, actually. I think he actually saw me getting out of the car, and he didn't move. I mean, he hasn't even lifted his head up since we've been here either. Yeah, have a look at this. How cool is this? So, obviously you might be able to hear the odd alarm call happening, and it's being created by these critters over here. They know he's here. They definitely know he's here. They were all standing looking at him earlier. I'm going to sit quietly just to see if we can hear them barking. There we go. You can just sort of hear it quite faintly. So they're not doing a serious bark anymore like they were. Hopefully, for Hosanna, because it doesn't look like he's caught anything since we saw him this morning, we'll be able to creep up on these and re-stalk them a bit later. At the moment, he's not interested, especially when they are alarm calling like this. He knows he stands no chance whatsoever in catching them, because every time an antelope knows that there's a leopard around and knows exactly where they are too, they will be able to get away. They're faster, they're more athletic, they can keep that speed up for quite some time. But it's really beautiful. Massive herd of Inyala. Right, let's quickly go across to Tumba. He's taking on some elephants.
Yes, there's a herd of elephants that's just come onto the scene. There they are, and you can see young Tumba just slinking away in front of our vehicle over here. It looks like this young bull over here sensed something. Let's see what happens. They'll be able to smell the leopard now, and not too perturbed by it, but they did sense something was up. He just lay down in a bush a few meters away. He obviously knows that he can very well avoid these animals with his stealth and speed. And what are the chances that young Hosanna is also being barked at by an Inyala? Well done to Taylor for finding him. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I'm just going to report that there's a large herd of giraffe coming down to drink at the Vuyatilla waterhole. Negative, Tom, haven't seen them, but thank you. So I'm just replying to Tom quickly, who let us know. And it sounds like quite a beautiful scene. So it's all happening here on Djuma. And I'm hoping that Tumba decides to also go for a drink, because if we do, it'll be an incredible scene seeing this leopard with the whole journey of giraffe drinking. Now this Ellie over here is getting quite close. The leopard's just in the bush over here. Hard to see him, but he's lying down in there. Oh, no, he's had enough. And now the Ellie's seen him. And it's flatulating as it goes after him. What an awesome, awesome scene. How cool is this? Now we need to be careful not to get left in a cloud of dust here. I'm sure the elephants are probably not going to chase the leopard for too much further than that. But what an incredible scene that was. I love the way he just kind of lay up on the side of that termite mound there, thinking he was going to be able to disappear. Yes, Carla, the elephants are certainly far too big an item for this young leopard to try and take down. Where has he disappeared to? It's incredible how quickly they can disappear. I'm confident we're going to find him, possibly even up in the small wattle tree. He was kind of heading towards that, and he may have jumped up there for a little bit of refuge as well as a vantage point. No, Senzo spotted him. He hasn't made it towards this tree, but he may well continue in this direction if the elephants give him a hard time. So let's see if we can get a view from here somewhere. There he is. Should be able to get a nice two shots of him and the elephants. Oh, cool. What is he stalking? The other Ellie's seen him. Go wide, sense. Oh, and whilst he was running away from the elephants, he had a shot at some Franklin. Let me see if I can get us into another good spot. Hold on, everyone. Now, the leopard's somewhere in this bush in front of us. I can't see it, but the elephant's very, very close to it, wherever the leopard is. So we could well see it getting chased straight down the barrel towards us, which will be a awesome, awesome shot. Can you believe that the elephant's feeding on those bushes now, just meters away from where the leopard's hiding out? And it looks like more elephants are coming onto the scene. Reinforcements. Oh, and there's a little baby there. Those mothers are not going to... Oh, there goes the leopard running off to the left. The hunter becomes the hunted. Just minutes ago it was trying to sneak up on prey, and now it's trying to sneak away from some elephants. How the tables have turned. How awesome. Let me just reposition the vehicle one more time, in the event that we get one more chase from this elephant. Yes, Jason, it is all happening for me, which is a relief, because my last two drives have been painfully boring. All the action's been with Taylor and Steve. And it looks like these elephants are, just like a herd of giraffe, also heading off to the Vuyatela Dam for a drink. But I sadly don't think we can leave the leopard to go and watch that. It'll be too risky and too difficult to try and relocate him. Book Lover, you'd like to know if the elephants would actually kill Tumba if they got a hold of him, and yes, I think they would. I don't think they would feel any mercy, and an animal so big against such a small animal, I mean, if they got a hold of him, they could cause such large damage in such a short space of time, but it would be highly unlikely that they did manage to actually get a hold of him. You know, little leopard cubs or lion cubs, I think if they smelt them, they could well trample them, and I'm sure it has happened. It's not something I've ever actually heard of happening, though, but I'm confident it certainly would have. Wonderful. Well, what a treat we are having this afternoon. We are going to now be able to send you back to Taylor with a sleepy Hosanna.
Well, actually, we have to correct ourselves now. Guess what? And I bet it's going to be the best correction I've ever done in all the silly things that I've done. Because it's not Hosanna. It's indeed Tinga Banana. It's Tingana, everybody. And I know we had an incredible sighting of Hosanna this morning, so that's fantastic. It couldn't have actually gone any better, in fact. So to now have Tingana around, because I know you've all been very worried about him and his condition, is fantastic. He's laying in the grass, but he moved his head slightly, and Ari was sitting on the other side. Ari is one of the guides at Nkoro. And he said, it's not Hosanna, it's Tingana. He was also just as excited as we were. Well, because his guests get to see a different leopard now too. But also, again, just like you are concerned about his health, all of the guides here in the northern Sabi Sand that have had the pleasure of meeting Tingana are, of course, also worried about him. But he seems fine for now. It's difficult to tell how fat or how thin he is when he's laying in the grass. I mean, we could barely identify him. Laying like this. It's just as soon as we got to see those ears a bit better, you can clearly see that they have been bitten away at flies, probably been torn in fights as he's been attempting to defend his territory. So that's exciting. Now, here's an interesting question. Lynn, you're wondering, how long can a leopard go without it being spotted by us? Well, I think I've drove past Tingana maybe I don't know, a couple of times before we realized that he was even in here. We had all the signs. We did have tracks, but I don't think they were his footprints, in fact. I'm convinced they were still Hosana's tracks. They didn't look very big, and they were in the sand too. So when animals walk in sand or in mud, their feet tend to splay a little bit more, making that track larger, and they still didn't look too big. And Ngana's got decent-sized feet, so we could still see Hosana around somewhere, if we're lucky. And obviously the coloration on their bodies is designed for camouflage. So they're really good at concealing themselves. And that grass is not particularly tall either. It's just that Sebastian is looking down on him. I reckon the length of that grass is, some of the pieces are maybe as sort of high as my knee, maybe a foot. And that's about it. And he's been able to completely conceal himself in that, which is pretty amazing. So, I mean, we've walked past, I can't tell you how many leopards I've probably walked past and didn't even realize they're there. I always wish that at the end of a safari I could get a tally of how many lions and leopards I've driven past, you know, like a video game type of thing. Which would be quite entertaining, because I reckon we shock ourselves as to how many times we've driven past some of the bigger cats, or even just kudu and inyala standing still in the bush, all of them. But our leopard is very sleepy, and I don't blame him, but we're going to sit here until he decides to wake up and maybe go for a drink at Chitwa Dam. Tumba, however, has got a spring in his step this afternoon. He's on the move.
Yes, he is on the move. We've just got into a good spot where I'm hoping he's going to walk down this little kind of open area towards us. Not too sure what he spotted up there. Something's caught his attention. I'm looking back and can't see anything. There's often quite a lot of prey species around this area that we're in. We're very, very close to the Vuyatela Dam now, and I'm guessing that is where he is going to eventually pop up, quench his thirst, but it seems like he's got a bit of a queue. There's lots of elephants having a drink there right now. Let's move forward a bit more. Oh, well, I'm told it sounds like the Ellies are all moving off, so he hopefully won't have to wait too long to get his opportunity. Paula, you'd like to know what is the largest prey that he could realistically take down? Well, you know, an adult female kudu, I think, is probably going to be at the top end of large animals that he could take down at this stage. That's a very, very big animal, close on 400 pounds, and he's probably only 120 to 140 pounds at the moment, as a guess. So, yeah, not much bigger than that, but, you know, you do get some interesting things happening out here, and young male leopards, just like young male humans, or any young humans really, be it boy or girl, they are prone to taking chances. And while he hones his hunting skills, he may take a few risky kind of prey species along the way. Yeah, so I guess, you know, the fact that he did kill an adult female kudu took us all by surprise, and is a good example of how much bigger a prey species he can wrestle to the ground. And it must have been an almighty struggle for him to kill that kudu. It must have taken quite some time and lots of wrestling up and down. That kudu wouldn't have just hit the deck like an impala does when a leopard of this size latches onto it. Let's creep forward a little bit. He seems to have stopped there. Okay. Well, the big cat trifecta is a reality this afternoon, and we have the joy of now sending you across to Steve with the lions.
Thank you very much, Scotty. How marvellous it is that you're getting such wonderful pictures of Tumba, and I'm glad he got out of the way of the elephants. It always is funny watching elephants chase lion or leopard. And since you have been away, you have not missed much. The lions are still lying down. It is cooling down quite a lot, which is marvellous. And who knows at what stage, with their full bellies of buffalo, they're going to be willing to move. There's a few grunts and groans, It appears to me, excuse me, that the youngest ones in the pride, not the youngest one, but the young subadults, have got more meat in their bellies. Or maybe it's just because they're smaller. But if we compare the two directly in front of us, this first one is a lioness, adult, and the one sort of directly above her, if I show you with that one over there, see how enlarged her belly is versus the one who's just in front of her. So there's a lot more meat in that belly, or maybe it's just that the belly is smaller, and so it looks a bit more. El Toro, good afternoon. What is the largest pride I have ever seen together? It would be the mountain pride that used to occur in the Singita Lebombo Kruger Park area in the Kruger National Park, and that was 24 lions when I started. 24, and 9 of them were subadult males, 8 of them were subadult females, and then the rest were adult females. So a marvelously large pride, and they at one point had split. So I think they were close to 30 before they split, and then the two prides sort of used a very similar sort of pride area, which is quite interesting. But on documentaries I've seen prides of up to 40, 35, 40 up in Savo in the northern Botswana. And that is incredible to see that amount of lions. And up there, they're known to hunt and take down elephant. So you need lots of lions to do that. Here, the Nkuhumas pride, with their large numbers of 12, are buffalo experts. And it is really, really awesome, I find, through my guiding experience, to notice how you find lions that are very good at one species and very bad at another. For example, these Nkuhumas are absolute lion specialists, buffalo specialists, and they bring down buffalo quite regularly. They chowed one just to the bone last night. All we found left were some ribs. But then I haven't seen them kill anything other than a impala and zebra, but I don't know what their take is on giraffe in this area. But when we go back to the mountain pride that I spent a lot of time with, they didn't have a lot of buffalo in that area, just a few buffalo bulls. And when the buffalo did come in, they had no idea what to do. They would just chase the herd up and down, up and down. We never saw them kill a buffalo in a herd. They did kill a buffalo or two, some of the bulls, but when it came to buffalo herds, they had absolutely no idea how to select out individuals. But then that pride were absolute specialists at bringing down the large and very tall giraffe, which we saw on many, many occasions. So it's almost as if they develop certain skills, and because they see so many of those animals, there were lots of giraffe there. That environment there was very, very, very suitable for giraffe. And so they was just obviously more frequently hunted them, and they developed their skills and honed it down. They were even very good at taking down the adult males. So, and that is quite a feat. But yet, as I said, buffaloes seemed like it was beyond their skill. So I'm sure we've seen cases of that all over the place, that prides will sort of specialize in a certain type of animal. But obviously, when you've got animals like impala around, they are for everyone's diet and everyone's palate, and a very nice buffer species. I wonder if you've heard the term buffer species before. Buffer species is basically an animal that fulfills the food specialist or the food range for a wide range of animals, and because they're quite common, they're selected for. So the buffer species being impala, a lot of other animals that are now more rare and endangered, like sable and roan and Sabi, their numbers have decreased. So by having lots of impala around, it's very good, because the lions will obviously focus more of their attention on those and not on the sable, which are rare and endangered at the moment. So it is working. Mina would like to know why the lions are all so close together. They are a pride, and they sort of, wherever one moves, the rest will follow. So, and also this is the tallest tree around, and so they will lie together in the shade. There will be a lot of grooming, a lot of licking and cleaning of each other, and that happens obviously when they're very close to each other. And just because of the family bond, there's a lot of youngsters here, so the youngsters feel quite an attachment to the adults, and so obviously try and stay quite close. As soon as one moves, they all seem to get up and follow, and that's probably what happened from where we left them this morning. They were lying up just next to the dam, and one would have moved probably for a little bit of shade, or who knows why they moved, probably the shade, and then the rest would have come and just slumped down in the best shade closest to the individual as possible. Oh, how marvelous. I just saw a crowned or a trumpeter hornbill. Just flew over there. I didn't know you got a trumpeter here. I think it was a trumpeter. I'm going to show you a picture because that is very special. I wonder if any of the viewers have seen a trumpeter hornbill in this area. I only got a very brief look at it. It could have been crowned, but I think by the size of the casque on there, that my opinion was a trumpeter. But I didn't get my binocs on it for very long. Let's have a look. Oh, you can hear it calling. It sounds like a baby calling. I will play it for you as soon as I find it. Did you hear it? Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, when I talk about the casque, see it's got a very wide belly, very similar to that of the crowned. Let's just listen. I can still hear it calling. Okay, I might have to play it for you. See how big the casque is on the top of the beak there, and there's another picture of it. Beautiful, aren't they? Now let's have a listen. You want to have a listen? It sounds like a baby crying in the bush. I wonder if the lions are going to respond to this. Sorry, guys. How's that? Did that give a few of you a fright? The lions almost didn't budge. One budged. They also haven't heard trumpeters in the area before. How marvelous is that? That's a new species for me for the Djuma area. They do frequent more sort of large trees along perennial rivers. Let's have a look. Mainly lowland forest. Favors riparian woodland. So riparian woodland would mean forest along very, very wet or permanent rivers. So I've never seen one in this area. That is marvelous. Apparently Jamie has heard one in the area before. So fantastic. For those of you who have not seen one, tick that on your list. And we're going to stay here with the Nkuhumas, maybe get another position, but they're not going anywhere. Let's go over to Taylor and Tingana.
Well, the closest thing I've heard to a trumpeter hornbill in the northern Sabi Sands is probably Brent. And I bet you're all excited because he's coming back to work tomorrow, so that's quite nice. But Tingana's still fairly fast asleep. He did twitch his tail at one point, which was very exciting. We all jumped for joy and we all wanted to start clapping, but of course we don't do that when we're sitting next to leopards. But he's just enjoying a snooze. And I wonder where he's come from. And I wonder if he was maybe here the whole morning and we just didn't see him. I can't imagine that he would have, though, because it was exceptionally warm today. It was 36 degrees Celsius. Let me see if I can remember. 96 degrees Fahrenheit, I think the conversion is. And I can't imagine that a cat would want to sit out in the baking sun all day. So perhaps he was just further in the Mulwanini. Maybe he has trade places. Maybe Hosana has gone into Torchwood now, and Tingana came out of Torchwood. They did a bit of a switcheroo. Of course, Hosana does need to be very careful. He needs to tread lightly in this area, because even though Tingana is, well, his suspected father, he's not going to tolerate him for too much longer. So it's best that he keeps out of Tingana's way and just sort of moves in between when he can. But it is starting to cool down now. What is the time? Where's my mobile device? Oh, there it is. 22:06. So it's getting cool, and thank goodness for the cloud cover. So it is going to get a lot darker than it normally does. So that could be good news for us. In fact, I believe you're all now very excited and not even watching the leopard anymore. We're all just talking about Brent. Hey, Tingana's the star of the show here. No, we're all very excited to have Brent back in camp. And perhaps he'll be able to call the trumpeter hornbills back. I have actually seen the trumpeter hornbills at Vuyatela Dam once. It was a very brief sighting, though. You don't normally see them up here. They like big fig trees and fruit. The only real fruit trees we've got that a trumpeter hornbill will enjoy the jackalberries. But down in the massive dry riverbeds down in the south, so like the Sand and the Sabi River, or the Mtsutlu, or the Tsovaklatla, some more down in southwestern corner of the Sabi Sands, there's huge big fig trees. And if you go to them, it was one of my favorite things to do in the afternoon. during the heat of the day. Obviously, it's nice and shady, nice and cool. You would find African green pigeons, you'd see go-away birds, you'd see purple-crested turacos, and then, of course, as well as the trumpeter hornbills, all feeding on the fruits that were in the tree. Some of them have been knocked down to the ground, so they'd be down on the ground pecking at those too. A few birds just giving a squawk here and there, encouraging Tingana to twitch his ears. Hopefully he'll get up. We haven't seen too much movement, I'm afraid. So he is tired, and I would like to see what he looks like. Monique, you're wondering if the grass is damp? It would have been this morning. Now, however, I'm almost certain that it has dried out in the sun. So no, it's not damp anymore. Maybe if he was sweating a little bit, perhaps, but I don't think so. Nice spot, though, that he's got there. It's probably quite cozy, like sitting on top of a blanket. But we'll be patient enough to hopefully see him get up and go on the move. I expect him to go down towards at least some form of watering hole, and I suppose Chitwa Dam is the closest to have a drink after this very hot day. And, well, speaking of dams, it seems as though Tumba is on his way to one.
Well, he's actually stopped. And I'm surprised that he stopped where he has. Let's take a closer look at his little tongue sticking out there. That's quite cute. And I'm happy to hear that Tingana and him have swapped roles. And I hope Taylor's predictions are right, that he does in fact head to the Chitwa waterhole for a drink. I'm sure this guy will eventually go for a drink at the Vuyatela Dam. It just seems like he's obviously not that thirsty and would prefer to have a snooze nearby. Maybe he's going to wait for it to get a little bit darker before he goes for a drink, when less animals can spot him. Time will tell. And very, very happy that we've had such an action-packed afternoon with him. I'm a little confused. I mean, I found some tracks earlier on Drive, and I thought they were Nkuhumas tracks. I just looked at them briefly, and who knows, maybe Nkuhumas is also on the property, or maybe it was in fact this guy's tracks, because the direction and area that we had them in wasn't too far from where we found him. So I still obviously have to fine-tune my skills with regards to being 100% sure it is in fact Nkuhumas. Long toes. He's got quite long toes. That's why his tracks are, in theory, easy to distinguish from others. But I clearly have some work to do there. Now, it's hard to believe that there was another 2 leopards seen on Djuma this morning. Well, actually 3 if you include Tundi's cub. So who knows where those 2 leopards are. Well, the 2 females, Tundi and her cub, as well as this other female that we didn't get a view of. One of the other vehicles did see it, but sadly we didn't manage to get any views of it, so we've got no idea exactly who it is. Oh, nice big yawn. Well, not the biggest. Maybe I'll do a bigger one next time round. Shashan, you'd like to know if the big cats purr. And no, I haven't ever heard a lion or a leopard purring. So I don't think they do. Not like the domestic house cats. They may have kind of similar rumblings, but I've never seen or heard. And I mean, you can hear a domestic cat purring from not too far away, so you could imagine the size of these cats. You would be able to definitely hear them if in fact they did purr. This guy does have incredible eyes. Look at that. Beautiful greenish tinge. Monique, you'd like to know how far is the Djuma Dam from the Chitwa Dam? I would say about 2 miles as the crow flies in a straight line. Maybe ever so slightly more than that, but I wouldn't say too much. So not a great distance away. What are your plans, young man? Where are you going to head off to? And have you had a meal since all of that kudu that you got to feed on? What was that, 3 or 4 days ago now? Very good. Well, we're going to stay put. I've got a feeling this guy's going to get up and on the move shortly. We'll be sure to call you back when he does. But for now, we're going to send you back for an update with Steve.
Thanks, Scotty. I really do hope that Tatamba gets up and has a move. And likewise with these individuals, they're slowly starting to do certain ablutions in the form of grooming themselves, a little bit of licking and rubbing of the face, which is very characteristic of the cats. I've seen Dave do it from time to time as well. It is quite comical. So at least 3 of them have got their heads up and are kind of getting into the mood of things, and the temperature has dropped considerably from about 2 hours ago. It's been a marvelous game drive in that as soon as we went out, the temperature dropped. It was 36 degrees Celsius, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, about 20 minutes before we went on drive. So we all bulked up on water and got prepared for a warm afternoon. As I said, we put on the roofs in case of rain. Oh, there we go. The temperature's dropped to 32 degrees Celsius and 89 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure how accurate that is because it actually feels a lot nicer. It might also be this really cool breeze that's picked up and coming from the west. It's probably got some rain on it. And beautiful. Going to be an absolutely gorgeous sunset. So we're going to spend some time with these lions and then maybe make a plan to be somewhere where we can get a really good look at the setting sun. Because with the clouds in the sky, it is marvelous. Paula, I don't know if lions dream, but have you ever watched a dog lying down at home and he starts running and kind of there's a dream going on of him chasing a squirrel or who knows? I've never seen lions do that. I've only seen it in dogs, but it's possible. I mean, what goes on in that mind when they are sleeping? Are they thinking of buffalo or thinking about kudu or veal or they're thinking about a good-looking Birmingham boy? Who knows what's going on? But it's very hard to understand. But I was explaining to Dave that I don't think lions are intelligent. They are very instinctive. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with not being intelligent. If instinct drives their behavior. And I say that because if you were watching this morning, you were watching and we had those 2 youngsters sitting by the dam, and that big elephant bull came down to drink. The youngsters ran away. I mean, the elephant was on the other side of a dam. I'm talking 40-odd yards of open water. There's no chance it could have got across. The lions moved away instinctively. Now, elephants practice and they exhibit huge amounts of intelligence. If we did the same thing with elephants on the other side of a dam, they wouldn't flinch because they know that that open body of water is protection. I've snuck up on an elephant bull. It took me about half an hour. I got closer and closer and closer. He knew I was there, and all there was between us was a little sort of gully, sort of drainage depression of about 2 meters or so. But he knew that there was a barrier and we couldn't get to him. But a lion, if it sees me on foot on a mountain or anywhere, it kind of freaks out and moves away. Instinctively, it has a fear of certain things. And so I don't think that when I say lack of intelligence, there's a lot of instinct which is their intelligence. It's learned. They don't learn as much as other animals do, but that instinct is what keeps them going. And is what makes lions and leopards and all of the dynamics that they exhibit so easy to understand, and also that each pride that I've witnessed exhibits very similar behavior in everything that they do. Oh, she just sneezed. Oh, she is such a polite lady. She has moved off a little bit from the pride, and she is now having a large toilet stop. Rebecca, who is Queen Bee? Okay, so the individual you're looking at now, I think is, I don't know, is that Amber Eyes? I'm really not good at identifying these lions yet. It looks like it might be Amber Eyes. But essentially, you don't get a queen in a lion pride. You get a group of lionesses that sort of run the show, and they lead. And the more experience they have, the rest of the pride kind of defers to them. When they get up and move, the rest of the pride sort of follows. And so the lowest in the pride would be the cubs, and then moving up from the sub-adults, but they all play a very important role. They're all related. They're all doing what they do for the survival of their genetics and the survival of their family. But there's it's not a matriarchal society, but it's led by the adult lionesses. So I hope that answers your question. But they defer to each other. There's no real dominance in females. You might see that in males, where there will be a certain bit of a hierarchy between them. But if a male comes into a group, say 2 males of the Birmingham arrived here, and the one female was an estrus, the first male, regardless of how their dynamics is between the two of them, the first male that sort of gets that lady will be the one who's allowed to do all of the necessary business. And if the males did come in here, you would see them dominate the females completely at feeding time. So there's a different story altogether. Okay, so from our sleeping Nkuhumas lions with the beautiful cat stretch that's about to happen. Look at the stretch. Oh, is he going to stretch? No, it's not going to stretch. He's going to move. We're going to go over to Scott Dyson with that beautiful young male leopard, Tamba.
Yes, he is certainly a beautiful young male, and he's slinking around quite far below us. We parked up on the dam wall, looking down on him, and he's just kind of sniffing about, looking for any possible meals as he goes along, poking his head into bushes, possibly looking for scrub hares, monitor lizards, birds, but hasn't had any joy yet. What are your plans, young Tamba? It was incredible. Just after you left us, you saw he was walking kind of straight towards our vehicle as we sent you to Steve. And literally a second after you left us, one Franklin made an alarm call, just a chick. And he literally just pirouetted, turned on his heels and headed in the opposite direction away from that bird that would have continued to make a racket had he have come closer. So he's definitely trying to do his best to go about being undetected this afternoon. Obviously, that belly that was full of kudu is no longer the case, and looks like he could do with the meal. You'll notice there's quite a few parasites called ticks on his head and ears. Obviously, your mother Tundi wouldn't be very happy if she saw you in this state. She'd tell you to go and comb your hair, make yourself look a little bit more presentable. But I guess, this young boy is living the equivalent kind of years as a adolescent human who kind of heads off to university away from the parents' care. Copy, no problem, enjoy. I'm just chatting with the vehicle that was with us. They were just thanking us for the sighting, so I was just acknowledging that. Scarlett, you would like to know if Tamba and Hosanna have ever come across one another, and yes, they have. I think even Tingana was on the scene. I think there was all 3 of them on that epic day. I'm not sure who the presenter was that was guiding you through it. And I'm told one night they were all, just this guy and Hosanna were growling at one another. Hosanna is slightly bigger than Tamba. We sadly actually just missed some interaction with them. I'm almost certain that they would have seen one another. We were heading towards where we expected to find this individual with the remains of his kudu kill, and we instead, as we turned onto the kind of 2-track that takes you off-road to the kill, we found young Hosanna walking away from the kill. And when we went back there was no sign of Tamba. I'm sure he probably fled the scene. He would have had enough food and not needed to kind of compete at all. But, I mean, that's just speculation. And I'm fairly confident they did in fact see one another. And yeah, it really would be wonderful to know how much interacting goes on and what those interactions comprise of. I think it's far more often than we think, and just because we see very few sightings of them animals together interacting, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen very often. And I guess the main reason for that is that they are out and moving around when they are... Oh, I just forgot what I was saying because I was listening to Steve on the Game Drive radio. When it's after dark, they move a lot more, and that's when we are sleeping. So yes, I think they definitely are a lot more interactions than we are lucky enough to share with you on camera. Carol, you'd like to know if leopards yawn when they are getting ready to hunt, just like lions. It's not necessarily hunting, it's more movement in general that I've noticed, Carol. It's a sign that they're going to move. And they're not hunting all the time that they're moving. But yes, they do like to yawn, as do the cheetahs. I think it's common for all the big cats to act like that. Oh. Okay, well, we're going to get into a good spot. I want to try and get a low angle. He's about to pop on the dam wall, and we're going to send you across to Steve while we get into that spot.
Thank you, Scotty. We just moved away from those lions for a brief moment to come to Buffelshoek Dam to get you this view of the sunset as promised. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to just hold off speaking for a few moments while we just listen and absorb the African bush. Not too many noises at the moment, but it is a marvelous evening as the sun slowly makes its way to the horizon. We have another special surprise in front of the vehicle, which Davey's going to quickly pan to. We have got the smallest and cutest new member to the elephant population in the Djuma. Is there with Mommy. Oh, look at that guy. We thought they would stick around a bit longer. The sun waits for no man, but the elephants we can always catch up with. Let's see if it comes around that bush again. And it is the smallest and cutest little elephant I think I've ever seen. And seeing the female on her own with that youngster probably means that the herd has moved off and maybe the youngster's been struggling a bit to keep up. So the mother will just slow things down a bit for a couple of days until the strength in the youngster catches up. Or maybe they are just in the bushes there and we've just missed them. Of course, she's hiding from us. Let's go have a look, shall we? Thought she was going to come around that bush there. Let's go see if we can get a bit closer. Obviously, we must be very careful. Okay, well, the elephant just had a drink. Let's go over to Tumba, who's doing the same thing.
Yes, he's about to come and quench his thirst in the very same puddle where we saw him quenching his thirst a few days ago. He's probably going to sink into the mud here. Watch closely. Not as much as I thought. Beautiful. I'm not envious of this puddle that you're drinking out of. And well done to the Zoomy, who's got a great view on the dam cam. If you don't know what a Zoomy is, it's somebody that controls the dam cam that we have here at Djuma. That runs 24 hours a day. It's a great thing to have playing while you sleep at night or early in the morning when you wake up. It's just some peaceful, especially at night, wonderful audio of the African wilderness, and also sometimes some cool footage of anything that comes to visit. Just going to keep quiet for a second and see if you can actually hear him lapping up the water. That's all you can just make out. Well, the last time we saw him drink here, it seemed like he drank about 10 liters of water. Of course, he didn't drink that much, but he spent a long, long time quenching his thirst, and he could well do the same thing. I mean, I wonder how much water they get per lap. Oh, little flea was giving him a hard time there, or a fly. Well, we're getting spoilt rotten this afternoon. And Conrad, one of our technical wizards, suggests that young Tumba's enjoying a chocolate milkshake. It certainly looks like that. And sadly, I'm sure it doesn't taste quite as sweet. But he seems to be enjoying it. Very good. Well, all the action's happening here on Safari Live this afternoon. We're going to send you from this incredible silhouette, or sorry, not a silhouette, a reflection of this leopard drinking, to a tiny baby elephant with Steve.